Today, kind of want to discuss a little bit of the past, um, about why I travel the world. Has nothing to do with because I'm single, I lack companionship or relationship. It's actually beyond that. I strongly believe that exploring the world will open up your mindset to question your life or your reality, if it makes sense or not. Sometimes we're just so accustomed to believing a certain structure when it comes to family, the way we live, or the way we look at things at life, and just exploring other parts of the world kind of helps you reshape your mindset, reshape your way of thinking, and also your ambitions. They shift from a more humble perspective, not just a material. Before I traveled, before I used to even consider the possibility of exploring a different continent or exploring a different country or whatever you want to call it. I used to be more materialistic. I used to believe that having the right woman, the right things, the house, the career, the cars was set for freedom, was set for happiness. And I've noticed that's not the case at all. Probably in the West or just in the United States, we have the ability to interpret that way of life because that's how we've been taught. It's a particular scenario that's been played on our mindset from movies, from society, the way our parents have taught us. And after traveling, I wasn't the same person anymore. It's not something like I changed or I'm brainwashed. It's just I've learned that happiness tends to it has to be created by us individuals. A lot of people might call it a coping mechanism, how the black players say cope, but in reality, it's more much of that. Like I said, the whole world it's full of humans, but each human or each society has their own things, and you gotta find where you fit. You gotta find where your best side of the world fits you, because sometimes we don't belong in certain areas. I'm not talking about a nationalistic or a race or whatever, because honestly there's a lot of theories about it. I'm talking about more genuine studies of sometimes you fit in other parts of the world because it fits your narrative, it fits your personality. A lot of people don't talk about this. Like, I'm not a schizo guy or anything. It's just something that I've been observing, from reading, from analyzing. An example. Sorry about that, guys. Just having a sip of my water. People don't really analyze your personality doesn't fit a certain criteria of the civilized world or the West. And I'm not saying that the West is super civilized. I think I've seen parts of the other world that's civilized. It's just everybody has a different opinion, a different perspective. An example, let's say that you just feel really well in this particular nation, not because you look the same or anything like that. This has nothing to do with nationalism, race, theory, anything like that. I am beyond past that. I study that mindset. It's not for me. It doesn't make sense. But it's up to everybody to investigate. So I'm just trying to clarify, because I don't want people to misinterpret my words. That's not what I'm saying. Because I'm not racist at all. So anyway, so there's times where you ask yourself, how come I don't feel quite the same, or I don't fit in, besides being an excess male? Because the female question is a different perspective. That's a different criteria that it's been discussed. We already know. I do happen to believe that when you explore the world, you might discover somewhere where you just feel like you click, you belong there, because you can adapt quickly, you understand the society, and you just manage to learn how to survive. And it's difficult. Sometimes we don't have that mentality of the world that we were created or we were born in. This is why I think there's more to the human story. It's just very difficult to discover, because we don't know exactly how it'll happen. But I'm not saying this in a conspiracy way. This is my own observations analyzed. So what I'm trying to say, if people don't quite understand, because I understand it's a very difficult topic, because this is not a topic that's always been discussed or anything. An example, I'm not very religion. I'm not into religion. I'm not a religious guy. I tend to question everything, use critical thinking. An example, I'm more agnostic. I still believe there is a creator. It's just Abrahamic religions has not fully convinced me. And there's times where I feel more comfortable, like being a Buddhist or something more of a I don't know how to describe it. Like, I haven't really studied Hinduism, but sometimes you just fit in those typical way of thinking when it comes to philosophy and things like that. And other parts of the world get your attention. I understand it's a very difficult world to survive because everything's kind of like it's run by money, it's run by this particular monetary system, and you have to survive. But there's times where you might just already know where to retire, where to look at. Like for me, it's Thailand. I love Thailand. I do have a Buddhist way of looking at things in life. I enjoy like the beach. I enjoy some of the diets, and I don't know. And I look nothing like them. Like I say, I am Latino, but before you guys make any assumptions, and this is not something to feel proud of or for me trying to be racist, but like I'm a white passing Latino. I'm not fully like white or anything like that. I know I'm not white. I'm not European, but sometimes I can be mistaken by Southern European because I do have like the phenotypes. But I do love the Thai. I do like the Southeast. Sometimes the style. I don't know. It's just something it's in my personality or it's in the gene code. I don't know for sure. That's why I travel. That's why I just explore the world. That's something that I'm always excited about to do. That's something I look forward to. And don't get me wrong, I love the United States. I'm not hating on the United States. It's just sometimes it's hard for me to fit in because I don't have nothing, incompatible. I do believe this is why my friendships are always very low. Even when I'm at the local gym or anything, I just don't feel like talking about local stuff. Like when I mean local stuff, like I said, live in northern Indiana, like the Notre Dame game, like it doesn't really get my interest. Like I haven't been attracted to sports anymore. I used to be for a little bit, then I lost that particular interest. I think sports is not something that really gets my attention anymore. Like I do like to work out, I like to box, but I like doing it physically, not watching it. So I don't know if this video will make sense or not, but this is a little introduction why I travel, why I did it, and I want to make it another part, later. We'll get to that in a minute, but this is a little summary of why I do recommend it for everybody to travel. It does really help you understand more things in life. You might be able to figure out if you can find somewhere where you can fit in, be happy. It doesn't even matter because some of us are not even going to get the girl. Like I just genuinely believe that yeah, I know it's looks. I understand looks is that's the superficial part of the iceberg of understanding why some of us are not ever going to get married, but I think there's more to that. It's just the more I discover, I can never find a particular girl. Like this is not me trying to find beyond this point. I'm not looking for a pretty girl or an attractive girl because I know that's far beyond my capacity. But a lot of the girls that I try to talk to, there's no, none of them really like my point of views, my interests, my way of thinking, because it's like too peaceful, or I don't know. It's a very difficult process, but like I said, traveling really gets my attention. Really, fascinates me that there's so much to the world. I can't believe it's things are keeping there's barriers that keep us from seeing the world, but it's up for everybody individually to see it for themselves. A lot of people are not convinced. They think traveling is inconvenient for a lot of reasons, which I'm not going to get into, but I hardly disagree with I disagree with that. I do believe you have to see the world and maybe you get a better understanding. But so that's the summary of why I do it, what's convenient, how it helps us. And yeah, like the only cons is it's you might run into things that are unpleasant, scams, um, the world's not safe. That's unfortunate, but everywhere's unsafe. It doesn't even matter. You can be in the safest country, and things will still rapidly happen because human nature is unpredictable. So how did I even begin traveling? This is more of the history of it. So I never really had it in my mindset to travel. Like I am a history nerd. I like and also I always been very good with geography. And that's something I always excel in school was history, geography. I don't know if I have other interests, but I think literature is one of my favorite. Math, I'm pretty decent. I don't know. I never really tried because I was so depressed when I was in high school. Which that video will be coming up soon, but it's a longer video and it has to be a self-made video about that explanation of why I was depressed. But I'll make a video about it. Don't worry about it, guys. So honestly, going back to 2016, 2017, that's when I really started the process of traveling, because after I graduated, I just worked, went to college, and just hang out with my buddies, doing nothing but unproductive things. Like, I'm not a guy that really develops bad habits. Like, I'm not a smoker. Like, I only smoke cigarettes, but that's from time to time, not all the time, because I still care about my health. And don't get me wrong, like, I understand smoking's unhealthy, but, I only do it occasionally because honestly I don't mind. I understand it might give me some effects later, but I am trying to quit. It's a little bit of a difficult process. Like I went from smoking a pack a week to only smoking once a week. Now I'm like twice a month. That's process is not perfection. It's very difficult, but if you work your mind to it, you'll see some results. Like I said, not all the time. Like I said, it's going to take a while. So going back to the story. So technically, so let me give you guys a little bit of a introduction to traveling or how I started. Like I said, I just worked. I went to school, hanging out with my friends, and the reason I brought up like the smoking part, like I only smoke cigarettes, but a lot of my friends are only into pot, drinking, trying to get women, even though some of them were successful, some of us were not. So we were just like, a lot of them resorted to just smoking pot, drinking, because that was their only coping mechanism. And it just always kind of fascinated me how we can be defeated quickly just because we don't have something that we can. Technically, it's not their fault. It's biology or whatever you want to call it. I don't know. Sometimes we're not meant to date, even if we might have some good phenotypes, because I don't know, the world and society changes the mindset. But anyway, so I didn't want to keep doing that, so I started working out. That's got into martial arts, and I still like I wasn't fulfilled with life. I was really questioning, what's more to life. Is there anything? And I was planning because I believe that I should have left the Midwest because I don't really fit here. Like my personality, my way of thinking, my interest is not in correlation with anybody. Nobody has the same interest. Nobody really likes the way I see things, or they just believe that I'm snobby. They think I'm. So here's the thing: I'm reserved because honestly, I don't fit in. I can tell that by the energy or by how people see the world. And even though I try to be a gentleman and try to be a nice guy and always try to help out, it's like I don't know, I just don't fit in. It's just the best way I can put it. Like I don't know, people might put the blame on the genetics, on the aesthetic beauty. I don't know for sure. This is a very mysterious place. The Midwest is beautiful, but at the same time it's very mysterious and it's very difficult. A lot of people here are very bold, very cold, so that's an explanation there. But anyway, I was trying to leave the Midwest. I was trying to move back to my home state, which is Texas, and I believe that I was getting closer to the goal. I had some money saved, but something convinced me not to leave because honestly, I didn't want to struggle in a city that I hardly knew, and I just didn't want to go through a struggle because honestly, I wasn't in the mood for it. If I would have gone, I probably would have been more depressed, and I don't know what would happen to me, to be quite honest. But So I was convinced to travel. My dad asked me, "Is there any destination, anything that can convince you, or have at least we can have some positive effects for 2018?" This is actually, I think that's when I started traveling, 2018. Yeah, I think because 2018. And I said the only interest that I had was Spain. So, I was convinced. I booked a flight to Spain because I had nothing else to look forward to on 2018. Which in the other video that I will be making, it will give you more an explanation. If you have any questionings about why I was only looking forward for the travel date, but anyway, I didn't know how to save. I didn't know how to budget. I was still very new to a lot of things. But I ended up saving some money. Like, if I can be totally honest, I only reserved the trip for 1 week. Took like almost $2,800. So yeah, so basically, so when I booked the trip, sorry guys, I gotta make sure I wasn't speeding because there was a cop. So if I pause, it's because I'm always driving. This is the only time I can make these videos because honestly, I cannot let people know about my channel. But anyway, so yeah, so basically, 20. I took 2,800. So how it started? So this is how it started. It was like in the summer how I canceled all my plans to move out of the state. I was kind of devastated by that. So honestly, that was what I was looking forward to. But anyway, so booked the flight in the fall. When the day came, obviously do the normie stuff. I was still blue pill at the time. I decided to just take not much with me. And I invited another family member because I didn't feel like comfortable going to another country by myself. Because you never know. I think a lot of the movies kind of help give you that negativity of traveling. Kind of like if you've seen Taken, but honestly, I probably watched too many movies I should have when I was younger. But after booking the flight, it feels kind of great going to the airport. Like, I don't know. I think I've always been very fascinated by airplanes to begin with since I was a kid. I think that's one of the best inventions of humankind. As soon as I got to the airport, I had to do an upskill in Georgia from Chicago to Georgia and then Georgia to Barcelona, Spain. And I just remember like getting on I think it was a 747 Boeing aircraft. It was just like, I think it was really cool. Like, I might be nerdy, but like I said, I think airplanes are very impressive. Because I don't know if you guys ever flown overseas or not. Like, compared to a domestic flight, domestic flights are smaller. You don't have a screen in front of you. You had to rely on your cell phone or whatever type of entertainment that you particularly like. But I had my book with me, and second of all, I had my music. At the time, I always use YouTube as for my music list, and my friend kind of like taught me about Spotify. Like I said, there were some things that I was unaware of when it came to applications or on like music apps, whatever. So my friend let me borrow his Spotify and use the account and everything, but I didn't have enough time to download all the music, unfortunately. So because it was time to board the plane. Not enough time. I only downloaded very few music, and obviously the Wi-Fi on the plane, it's expensive, $20 for if you want a decent Wi-Fi. Like I said, I didn't take too much money with me. I thought Europe was very expensive, so I paid $20 for the Wi-Fi. Actually, no, I wasn't planning to. I'm sorry, I wasn't planning to pay $20 for the Wi-Fi. I said screw that. So I just relied. So I was thinking, I just have to be patient because I didn't really know what I was expecting inside the airplane. So as soon as I boarded, it was kind of cool. I had a screen monitor in front of me. One thing about these airplanes, I could be wrong, but maybe it's in certain airlines. But I remember clicking on a monitor, and I just do happen to remember that there was movies that were being played in the movie theater. So I thought it was pretty cool. And you have your, you sit on. I was in the middle row. So that was kind of like the thing I didn't like is the middle row. I was with the other family member next to me, and two other ladies. So my family member was on the left side, and I remember two ladies on the right side. So it was like 4 seats on the middle row, and 2 on each side. So you just get on the plane. You put, sometimes you take your lower, like small luggage, and you place it up in the compartment areas. Like I said, it's a huge airplane. Had my book. I only have very few, music playlists on the Spotify because I had enough time. And I don't know if you guys never been on a plane or not, but just for the people that never been on a plane, because there's people that are petrified to board on a plane because for a lot of obvious reasons. You're not supposed to have your phone. You have to have it on like on airplane mode. I don't know the specific reasons. The only reason I've heard, but I could be wrong, is so the signals do not intercept. But I don't know the exact reason. If you guys know, please put it in the comment section. But so yeah, and I remember that huge thing took off, and like at the beginning it was like a cool experience because one thing I like about the airplane is when it takes off. I know it's a scary moment because things can go wrong, but once it takes off, it's kind of a cool because I've always been like a guy full of adrenaline. And then I kind of like took a quick power nap because I was pretty exhausted, and suddenly wake up. I just playing a movie. I don't remember exactly what I played, to be quite honest. I don't know if I played anything because I don't quite remember. It's been a long time since that particular trip, but I might have. I just don't quite remember. And I so basically like 2 hours on air. You're about to leave the continent of the United States, because basically it is a continent, the U.S. Because you can see on a monitor exactly where you're at. So I remember like we were exiting the whole east coast of the 13 colonies, for people that are nerdy like me. The 13 colonies, and now we were like in the Atlantic Ocean. And then you get served your dinner. Airplane food is not the best, so if you guys ever travel, let's say if it's a longer flight, my best recommendation is eat at the airport, have your nice meal, and get some snacks. Avoid the airplane food. So I don't really like it, but so I remember the airplane food was quite not the best, but I think I had like I think some pasta. I don't remember. This is back in 2018. I don't exactly remember what I ate. Then you have your options. If you're older 21, then you can have either any soft drinks or water, juices, or alcoholic drinks. Then you just watch your movie, you do your reading. But like for me, I kind of was watching something on my phone. So I do happen to remember I downloaded things on Netflix, so I think that's why I barely watched anything in the monitor. As soon as in the airplane, lights change the mood because it's nighttime as you leave the Americas. Then a lot of people start knocking out after dinner. Like I said, it was after dinner. It was like 3 hours of the flight, and I remember I knocked out. It was pretty uncomfortable because it was my first experience. So, and plus, I'm in the economy section. I'm too poor to fly in first class, so you kind of have to adjust to the space that you have. And the airplane was pretty cold. I remember that. And just waking up, it was like 2 more hours of the flight, and you get your breakfast served, and next thing you know, you landed on your final destination. You pass through the borders customs. Your passport is stamped, and you just look for an Uber or taxi. You collect your luggage. Then you have the options to exchange money if you have dollars. But my best tip for you guys is just take it out of the ATM. They'll give you a better deal because these exchange rate currency banks will try to rip you off, try to sell you the euro as basically they want to buy your dollar at a cheap rate. So when I first exchanged the money I was $500, I only got 375 euros, unfortunately. But it's the first time traveling. Yeah, you get your Uber, you go to the hotel, then you explore the city, and yeah, it was a pretty quite interesting experience, and that's how I started developing this passion for travel. And that's the part. This is part one, and part two might be coming out soon. But you gotta get back to some things right now. So I hope you guys like these two videos that I posted. But I'll keep you guys updated with the newest ones. And peace out. Have a good rest of your Sunday night, and just take care of yourselves. Enjoy.